Now we move on to our next news. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and US President Donald Trump spoke by phone to discuss trade, with both sides calling it a good exchange. The call comes as Brussels continues negotiations to avoid higher US tariffs ahead of a July 9th deadline. Let's listen into European Commissioner spokesman.
I can indeed also confirm the call between President von der Leyen and President Trump, and confirm that they have had a good exchange indeed.
The European Commission, which handles trade policy for the 27-nation in bloc, has been working with US counterparts for months to reach a deal. Without an agreement, tariffs on EU imports could rise to 20% or more, with earlier statements from President Trump suggesting they could go as high as 50%. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced on that U.S. tariffs could come into effect August 1st if no deal is reached with partners including the EU and Taiwan. However, the Commission says it remains focused on finalizing a framework agreement by July 9th. EU officials say talks are active at multiple levels, and trade spokesman Olof Gill confirmed they are fully geared up to secure a deal this week. Such a deal is expected to be limited on scope, with follow-up talks likely needed to address outstanding issues. EU Trade Chief Maros Sefcovic has regularly engaged with US officials in recent months, while direct communication between von der Leyen and President Trump has been infrequent since January. Now we move on to our next news. US Treasury Secretary Bessent says the administration will unveil several trade announcements in the next 48 hours. Speaking to CNBC, Bessent revealed he received a wave of new trade offers last night. On Vietnam, he confirmed that the U.S. is moving ahead with 20% overall tariffs, and added that the trade letters being issued are fairly standard. When asked about future roles at the Treasury or Federal Reserve, Bessent said he will do whatever the president decides. Bessent also said financial markets may already be in pricing in possible interest rate cuts based on current economic fundamentals. On the US dollar, he told CNBC it's normal for currencies to rise and fall, and there's nothing unusual about recent movements. He added that the dollar's behavior could also reflect strengthening in other global currencies, noting that China's yuan has also depreciated. Bessent revealed plans to meet with his Chinese counterpart in the coming weeks, and emphasized that the U.S. is open to working with China beyond trade if Beijing is willing to engage. Now let's take a look at some of stories from the world of business.